This is the TrimUI brick. I was sent this to review. This is the red model here. It comes in multiple colors. It's similar to some other handhelds out there, but also quite a bit different. This one here is relatively small. You can see compared to my hands, it's a relatively small handheld. Nice big screen. Some of the advantages of this one, some of the pluses will go right off the bat. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful high resolution screen on this one here. It's a 3.2-inch screen, so it's not tiny, but it's also not huge. This one here, however, is a 1024 by 768 screen. That is very high pixel density on a screen of this size. So games are going to look incredibly sharp on it. You're also going to get like a natural, even if they're going to be a little bit pixelated, normally on a large screen, like a giant display. On this, they're not going to have that same effect. And it's pretty bright too as well. So very, very nice looking screen there. Build quality is superb on it as well. It's a lot more metal on it than some of these other handhelds out there. Some of those cheaper handhelds, I've reviewed quite a few as well. And, you know, they're a little bit plasticky, a little bit cheap feeling. This one here feels very premium. It's all metal. We'll just bring in another example of one I picked up myself to buy. And then the Mio Flip that I bought. This one here, totally different kind of design. This one here is typical of like a Game Boy Color type setup here. Game Boy Color, a little bit smaller than a Game Boy Color. Similar screen size though, quite nice. This one here is the Flip. You can see totally different setup on the screen here. They actually look quite a bit different. The TrimUI has an extremely high resolution screen, 728, 1024 by 728 at 3.3 inches is crazy. It's a crazy high resolution for that screen. The screen here you can see is basically the same. It's a little bit bigger, just a tiny bit bigger here. However, it's considerably lower resolution. This one here is to the point of being like insanely fine resolution here. This one here is quite a bit lower resolution, but it's still totally fine. Let's come in here and we'll load up maybe the same game on both and see how they look. So relatively loud stereo. 1, 2. And they're not the same. It is producing stereo. .72. It's nowhere near as loud. Sounds more muddled here too. Yeah, I mean, they don't even sound in the same realm. The brick is way better sounding between the two of them. This is the brick. This is the Mio. It's not only quieter, it just doesn't sound as nice. So that's interesting. There's a metal design here, very premium in the hand, feels very premium, good weight to it. Just overall feels quite nice. And again, it's metal. This one here is like almost like a 3D printed plastic. I wouldn't call it cheap, but it doesn't feel remotely as premium. The hinge is a little chunky too. Right? It definitely doesn't feel as premium as even a Game Boy SP from back in the day. Definitely doesn't feel that nice. But it's fine. I'd say it's fine overall. Right? It's okay. This definitely does feel way more premium. The D-pad, nice clicky D-pad. Very nice. This one here, also clicky. A little bit of a weird layout. Like a little bit of a weird design, but still clicky. Volume rockers and that, like whatever, who cares? Doesn't really matter. The face buttons. Quieter. Definitely better D-pads on this too. Definitely better face buttons here. More premium. Shoulder buttons. This one here, you just get what you get. They feel fine. Okay. These ones here you have actually replaceable. They come with multiple options. They're replaceable. Way clickier. Way more premium. Very, very, very premium shoulder buttons there. I'm a big fan of that. Not only are they swappable, which I'm a big fan of, but they just feel significantly more premium. So all the buttons feel more premium here as well. That's fine, I guess. Otherwise, I mean, one advantage of this is you do get analog, right? So you do get your little analog sticks here. You don't have that here. Based on the power of the handheld, you're probably going to be playing up to some 32-bit, like you might be playing a little bit of PSP, a little bit of PS1, no problem with PS1. You don't need analog for most PS1 titles. Do a little bit of Dreamcast and that, but you're not going to be playing a lot of stuff that's going to really demand an analog stick anyways. So we have our function switch here, 2 function buttons there. Start select, jeez. And menu runs on like an Android-based operating system. Stereo speakers there, very cool. XD card, micro SD card. This one happened to come with one. Headphone jack and the charger. Very nice. And then you do have your buttons here on the back. L1, L2, L1, L2. We do have our buttons here. Okay, so that's, I guess that's L1. Just slightly different shaped here. This one here has a square, non-rounded edge. So it's going to be a sharp drop off there. You can get the one with the square, with a non-square. And this one will have a rounded edge. So that's L, yeah, there it is, L1. I'm not actually sure which one I'll prefer. We'll put them on and see. It's going to be up to you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take that out. I'm fine without those. I'm going to put this one back on, the original. Let's take off this though. Put that on. Yeah, I like that because it's higher. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, I like that setup. Just in case I need to press L2. It's just easier for me because it's a relatively small handheld. So the way my finger is going to be around is it's going to be able, I can do like a rocker style. I won't have to come over and like claw it. So that feels nice. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, I can just use the tip of my finger to press that, whereas the base of my finger there, I like that a lot. The interface here is very easy to navigate. You know, you have all your systems here. These are the ones that came stock with it. You can go in and pick the games you want. Just click on it, literally load it up. It'll load up the emulator and load the game. It's a nice little curated interface here. Nice little front end curated interface here. You know, easy to use. Put the games on that you're interested in, and then just load them up basically. So very, very nice there. Okay, we're gonna do some, I guess, slightly more challenging emulation here. Looks gorgeous on the screen. Okay, so that's that. That's the shoulder buttons. Yeah, everything's working good. Okay. Yeah, it's not too laggy or anything. It's actually feeling pretty good. There's a little bit of slowdown here and there. Again, this is Sega Dreamcast though. It's not the you know, the easiest to run. I'm not really having any problems playing like with the controls. I can actually just do like that. For that kind of stuff, it's actually totally fine. You know, I don't need too much shoulder button in this one just to swap characters, sure. But overall, it's pretty good. I mean, the screen looks beautiful as well. Really quite nice, actually, to be honest. Get wrecked. Yeah, so there's a little bit of slowdown here and there when there's like a ton of stuff going on the screen. But that was quite nice. Like the emulation was really smooth on Dreamcast for that type of game. I was going to do PlayStation, PS1, PSX, but I decided to do PSP, just kind of jump over it. A little bit harder to run. Do a little bit of this here. God of War, Chains of Olympus. It's a little small, but it's actually running really well. A little bit of choppy sound. A little bit of slowdown here, and this is a very hard to run game. So it's running this pretty well. There's a little bit of choppy audio, and the slowdown is kind of like normal to the game, to be honest. So it's running pretty well. Pretty happy with it, honestly. Nope. Get wrecked, boat. Yeah, so that's running as well. Let's go with a little bit older system. I mean, it'll run fine, but it's more about like the ergonomics and that. Okay, so we'll do some Genesis. Which, this is, you know, these are probably the type of systems people are going to be playing more on a little handheld like this. 16-bit and below. Countless hours of this game growing up. Like actually countless hours. And the controls feel good, they feel tight. There's no real emulation issues here. So the sound emulation is good too. It sounds as it should. Oops. It sounds exactly as it should. Gameplay feels tight. You know, these 16-bit consoles, oops, I'm not paying attention. These 16-bit consoles are going to be kind of the bread and butter of this device, but you can still do 32-bit, especially stuff like Some of the stuff like the PlayStation 1, it's going to run very well. A little bit of PSP is going to run fine. And then, of course, you can do a little bit of Dreamcast too. Depends on the game. I've been playing for a little while. I played some Dreamcast. I played some PSP, some other systems, and it never got hot in the hands. There is like warmth to it. There's a little bit of warmth to it, like the fact that it's an electronic. You can definitely feel it, but it's not hot by any means. There's like not even, it would say slightly above room temperature where I am right now. Okay, so we'll go over my review of it, my kind of impressions, pluses and negatives. I mean, one negative would be obviously the power. It's not going to have the power of something like, say, a Steam Deck or something. So if you have a Steam Deck, Steam Deck will give you access to more raw power. You're going to be able to emulate more challenging systems. You'll be able to move up the stack there. This is not that. It's not going to be capable of doing the most demanding systems, like Nintendo Switch. It just doesn't have that kind of power, for example. So that's a negative. I can't really think of any other negatives other than, the raw power. There are handhelds out there, especially like some of the Windows stuff. Some very powerful Android phones can do more, but they're totally different products. So then, at that, you're getting into like a phone. A phone's a phone, or a Steam Deck is a massive Steam Deck handheld type of thing. They're not in the same realm of existence. They're not like that. This is a small portable handheld, and kind of a little bit smaller than, a Game Boy Color, a little bit smaller than a Game Boy Color, but same screen size overall. So it's going to be very portable, right? It's something you can just basically pop into a bag, pop into your pocket. Very good. This one here doesn't have a screen flip style, like a Game Boy SP style thing. So you do want to get a screen protector for sure. So we'll go over some of the overall positives of it. The audio is good. I actually like it. The speakers are pretty good. You do get stereo sound there, and it's loud enough. They're not staggeringly loud, but they're loud enough. No problems with the audio overall. The screen is gorgeous. It's very high pixel density, very, very high pixel density. 3.2 inch screen across 1024 by 768 is super high resolution. That's like the resolution of a Steam Deck, but a Steam Deck is a 7 or 7.3 inch screen, depending on which one you have. It's big, very, very big. So if you have a Steam Deck, picture that same resolution on a tiny little handheld. So the pixel density becomes insane on this thing. It's actually super, super fine resolution. So you'll see, when you go back and look at the game footage, they all look very crisp. In older games like X-Men, Sega Genesis and that, those can look very pixelated on large screens. That's not the case here whatsoever. And then for more modern, like 3D titles, it's going to look very good as well. That's really, really nice. Surprisingly not heavy, despite the fact that it is all metal, but it does have a little bit of heft to it compared to some cheapo plastic thing. It's very small, but it does feel like, it feels dense and nice. You're like, I'm holding something here. It feels good. If you want something like this is going to be a beautiful, very premium portable handheld that you can take with you. It's pocketable. It's a pocket-worthy device. Slip it in your pocket, slip it out, play some games. You're going to be able to play all the way up to Dreamcast. Maybe not every Dreamcast game is going to run perfectly well, but a lot of them will. PSP, a lot of them are going to run very well as well. And then really anything below that is going to be a breeze for the system here. So that's the TrimUI brick. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a beautiful, perfect little device. And it's nice that it is metal. The red is beautiful too. There's other colors, but this red is gorgeous. Look at that. Very nice.